Welcome to Cipher Docs, where the world's darkest secrets are finally uncovered. Today we are talking about the single most documented and most devastating day in modern human history. A Tuesday morning, a clear blue sky, millions of people going to work, and then, in the space of 102 minutes, the entire world changed forever. This is not a theory. This is not speculation. Every second of this story is documented, verified, and real. This is September 11th, 2001. The day that changed everything. And if you think you already know this story, you do not know all of it. To understand September 11th, you have to understand what America felt like on September 10th. The Cold War was over. The economy was strong. America felt completely untouchable. No foreign enemy had attacked American soil since Pearl Harbor in 1941. 6 decades of safety had made the idea of a major attack feel almost impossible. Al-Qaeda, an Islamic extremist organization led by Osama bin Laden, had been planning an attack on American soil for years. Nobody took the threat seriously enough. 19 men, all Al-Qaeda operatives, had spent months living inside the United States, taking flying lessons, studying airport security, planning every single detail. They did not smuggle weapons onto the planes. They used box cutters, small bladed tools that were completely legal to carry onto aircraft in 2001. Hijacked 4 commercial passenger planes and used them as guided missiles against 4 specific targets. The targets were chosen for maximum symbolic impact: the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and a 4th target believed to be the US Capitol or the White House. At 7:59 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 takes off from Boston Logan Airport, 92 people on board. Destination Los Angeles. It will never arrive. At 8:14 a.m., United Airlines Flight 105 takes off from the same airport. 65 people on board, also bound for Los Angeles, also never arriving. At 8:20 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 departs from Washington Dulles Airport. 64 people on board, headed for Los Angeles. The Pentagon is 38 minutes away. At 8:42 a.m., United Airlines Flight 93 takes off from Newark Liberty Airport. 44 people on board. Destination San Francisco. None of them know what is coming. At 8:19 a.m., a flight attendant on Flight 11 calls American Airlines ground staff. She says, "The plane has been hijacked. Someone has been stabbed. We cannot reach the cockpit." At 8:46 a.m., Flight 11 hits the North Tower of the World Trade Center. It strikes between floors 93 and 99 at 440 miles per hour. Thousands of people on the streets of New York stop and stare at the burning tower. Most assume it was a terrible accident, a small plane that lost control on a clear morning. Inside the North Tower, 1,344 people are trapped above the point of impact. Every stairwell above the crash is destroyed. There is no way down. No rescue can reach them. At 9:03 a.m., 17 minutes after the first impact, United Airlines Flight 105 hits the South Tower, live, on camera, in front of the entire world. At that moment, every person watching understood. This was not an accident. America was under attack on its own soil. At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 strikes the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia. It hits at 530 miles per hour. 125 people inside are killed instantly. The Pentagon, the most heavily defended building in the world, had been struck by a commercial passenger aircraft on a clear Tuesday morning. By this point, the entire United States government is in crisis. Vice President Cheney is rushed to a secure bunker beneath the White House. President George W. Bush is in a Florida elementary school classroom when his chief of staff whispers in his ear. The image of his face in that moment is one of the most studied photographs in American history. All civilian aircraft across the entire United States are ordered to land immediately. 4,500 planes in American airspace, all grounded, in the space of a single order. Meanwhile, on United Flight 93, passengers begin receiving phone calls from family members on the ground. They learn about the World Trade Center. They learn about the Pentagon. They understand, in real time, that their plane is not being hijacked for a hostage situation. Their plane is a weapon, and they decide they will not let it be used as one. Passenger Todd Beamer is on the phone with a GTE operator named Lisa Jefferson. He tells her, "We are going to do something." He asks her to pray with him. His final words before the phone goes silent: "Are you guys ready? Let's roll." The passengers of Flight 93 stormed the cockpit. Ordinary people, teachers, businessmen, a retired couple, decided to fight back. The hijackers, realizing the passengers were about to retake the plane, rolled the aircraft and pointed it straight toward the ground. At 10:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 93 crashes into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Everyone on board dies, but the intended target is saved. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapses. 110 floors, gone in 10 seconds. A massive wall of dust and debris chases thousands of people through the streets of Manhattan. The footage looks like a disaster movie. It is real life. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower collapses. It had been standing for 102 minutes since the first impact. Now it is gone. When the dust finally settles, the count begins. 2,907 people killed. From 93 different countries, every age, every religion, every background. 343 firefighters killed, the single largest loss of emergency services personnel in American history. They had run into burning buildings while everyone else ran out. 72 law enforcement officers killed that morning, and hundreds more who would die in the following years from illnesses caused by breathing the toxic air at Ground Zero. The phone calls made from the planes and from the upper floors of the towers are among the most heartbreaking documents in American history. People saying goodbye, saying I love you. A man named Wells Crowther, known as the Man in the Red Bandana, saved at least 12 people in the South Tower before the building collapsed. He was 24 years old. One woman called her husband from the 105th floor of the North Tower. She stayed on the phone with him for over an hour, until the tower fell. The 9/11 Commission later found that the attacks were entirely preventable. Multiple intelligence agencies had information that, if properly shared, could have stopped what happened. The CIA knew 2 of the hijackers were already inside America. The FBI had agents reporting suspicious activity at flight schools. The warnings existed. The system failed. Within 24 hours, intelligence agencies confirm Al-Qaeda is responsible. Osama bin Laden, operating from Afghanistan, had planned and funded the entire operation. On October 7, 2001, 26 days after the attacks, America launches Operation Enduring Freedom. The invasion of Afghanistan begins. The Taliban government, which had been sheltering bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, is removed from power within weeks. But bin Laden escapes into the mountains of Afghanistan. The search for Osama bin Laden would last nearly 10 years, the longest and most expensive manhunt in American history. On May 2, 2011, U.S. Navy SEALs raid a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Osama bin Laden is found and killed, nearly a decade after September 11th. Back in America, the aftermath of 9/11 reshapes every aspect of daily life forever. Airport security changes overnight. The TSA is created. The world passengers knew before that day is gone. The Patriot Act is passed, giving the government sweeping new surveillance powers that would later be revealed to include mass monitoring of ordinary American citizens. The Department of Homeland Security is created from scratch, a brand new government department, built entirely because of the failures of September 11. At Ground Zero, rescue workers searched through the rubble for survivors and remains for months, in toxic air, finding pieces of people, trying to give families something to bury. Many of those rescue workers developed cancers and respiratory diseases in the years that followed. Thousands have since died from illnesses directly linked to their work at Ground Zero. The James Zadroga 9/11 Health and Compensation Act was passed in 2010. It took 9 years of fighting by first responders to get healthcare they had earned by saving others. At the site of the World Trade Center, 2 massive reflecting pools now sit exactly where the tower stood. The names of all 2,977 victims are inscribed around their edges. Every year on September 11th, 2 beams of light rise from Ground Zero into the sky, reaching upward to where the towers once stood, visible for miles across New York City. September 11th did not just change American foreign policy or airport security. It changed the psychology of an entire generation, the way they see the world, safety, and each other. Children who were in elementary school that morning grew up in a world defined by that day. 2 decades of war, heightened security, a world that felt permanently less safe. The wars that followed September 11th, in Afghanistan and later Iraq, would last over 20 years and cost trillions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of lives. And yet, for all the investigations, all the reforms, all the changes, the fundamental question remains. How did 19 men with box cutters bring the most powerful nation on earth to its knees? The answer is not about security failures alone. It is about how catastrophically easy it is to underestimate a determined enemy, even when the warnings are right in front of you. 2,907 people went to work, boarded planes, or reported for duty on an ordinary Tuesday morning. None of them knew it would be the last ordinary morning the world would have for a very long time. 19 men with box cutters changed the course of human history in 10 minutes and the world that existed on September 10, 2001 has never, and will never, come back. This was September 11, 2001, the day that changed the world forever. This is Cipher Docs, and the truth, no matter how painful, will always find a way out.